What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today, I'm not doing a review. I'm gonna be doing a list video. Figured since we are getting close to the end of the year, and I pretty much have seen all my movies that I needed to see this year. I'm not seeing Avatar, so I am not sitting for fucking 3 hours. So I figured we'll do worst, and I was gonna do best on Friday. I'm still gonna do best, but what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say best movies in general of 2022 for next week because it'll be next week's New Year's Eve week. So what I think I'm gonna do is on Friday, because I feel like I've seen enough horror movies this year. I am gonna list my favorite horror movies of the year because I feel like also it could be a video where I recommend some movies that I feel like some people haven't seen. I figured because I feel like I have seen a good amount of horror movies this year and some really good ones that I do feel like I want to recommend. That's also why I kind of like doing best of or granted worst of is sometimes more fun just to shit on stuff, but like a best of list is fun because it's like it's a bunch of recommendations for people, if they haven't seen a movie. But I guess before I get started on this video, I'll get going on what I got going on. So tomorrow we'll finally finish up Ip Man with Ip Man 4, the finale. I've never seen this one. So this one I am going to be going in blind. I've only seen the original 3. I've not seen this one. So I remember it coming out, but I didn't end up seeing it in theaters. I don't know why. So we'll watch it tomorrow, going in blind. Wednesday, we are going to be roasting. In my opinion, I can agree with people who say this is the one of, if not the worst video game, well, not video game, but like just any kind of adaptation of anime or whatever, The Last Airbender. For me, it's not the worst. Dragon Ball edges it out just a smidge, but this is up there. M. Night, in my opinion, this is not M. Night's worst movie, though, but I think After Earth's way worse, but this is pretty bad because of what they did to the lore. And I'll admit it, like, I like The Last Airbender, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I haven't watched it in years, but one of my favorite series back in the day, and I remember being so hyped for the movie, and then it's like, they dropped the ball hard, man. So I'm going to be ripping that movie apart, because we're pretty much on the last bit of M. Night's movies, and pretty much we're at the shit section, because we got this one, and then we got After Earth next week. It's like, yeah, we are basically at just the shit section. So, I got that going on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm going to be... I know normally I've been doing the Texas Chainsaw movies. I'm going to take a break from that. I figure since this is the week of Christmas, I don't know if I'm going to want to do a video on Christmas Eve or Christmas. So I figured I want to get this out before. So I decided on Thursday I'm going to be reviewing Jingle All the Way. So I'm going to probably try to watch it either Wednesday night or Thursday day. But yeah, Thursday. That'll be my review. And then Friday, I'm going to do it's going to probably be 10, but we'll see. Best horror movies of 2022. So yeah, next week I'll keep getting back to reviews and stuff. But I figured this week I kind of wanted to get it a little bit, because we are rounding out the end of the year, and I've been reviewing a lot of movies. I've been not reviewing, but like I've seen a lot of movies this year, so I figured we'll start off with the worst. So, in my opinion, man, there's been so much shit this year, and it's kind of sad. So I think there has been some good, but there's been a lot of shit, and this is gonna be shit I've seen. So. Yeah, no, I'm not. There's not going to be no MCU movies on here because... Actually, no, there's one. But there's not going to be, like... I didn't see Thor, Love and Thunder. I didn't see Doctor Strange 2. So, and I know those are bad, but I didn't watch those all the way. Either I didn't watch those all the way, or I watched, or I saw spoilers, and that's it, and just didn't watch the movie. So this has to be shit I've actually seen. So that is the parameters I kind of went with, or parameters. I think that's the word I'm thinking. went with because like, it has to be movies I've actually seen. So, but before we get started, I'm gonna cheers and. Man. So the movie. So number 10. We're gonna kick off. But to me, this is bad. But this is definitely like not the worst. But I figured it still had to be on the list. And I would definitely put this more in disappointment than necessarily worst movie. Because I was more disappointed than necessarily pissed off with it, like compared to my number 1. And that is Jurassic Park Dominion. To me, because I'll say this, there is some good scenes in there. I really liked Ellie and Alan's relationship. I thought they did really a good job with the legacy characters. Especially compared to like the amount of destruction so I was at least happy with that, and there was some good sequences, and I liked some of the dinosaur designs, but but they really fucked up with it, so that's why I had to put it on the list. So I could not like ignore it because sorry, I'm just kind of stuffy here a little bit, but they really, it's like they try to do 2 different stories together. It didn't work. The dinosaur setup wasn't well done. The fact that they cut the prologue was dumb. I didn't like some character decisions. I didn't like the decisions they did with the Giganotosaurus. Was a dinosaur I've been wanting to see in Jurassic Park for a long time, and you dropped the ball with that one. It wasn't even a threat. The final fight was like 2 seconds. The biggest problem, they meshed 2 different storylines. They should have never introduced this weird storyline about the fucking locusts. I don't understand where they were going with that. They were setting up that the dinosaurs, affecting the mainland, and they almost just never really acknowledge it. They kind of do, but they don't at the same time. It's like, so I just think they dropped the ball with it hard. And they kept trying to push the Maisie subplot, which I'll admit, that's the one thing I'll agree with people. We didn't need that. I didn't need the whole Maisie thing. That was annoying. They should have cut her role down heavily, but anyway, I had to put Jurassic World Dominion on. To me, it's still not the least worst, because I can at least, there's some scenes in there I like. So now we're getting to the bad ones. Number 9 is They Them. I can't believe this is a movie. I don't know what they were thinking making this a movie. It was supposed to be like a horror. The problem is, They Them could have worked if it was like a parody, like a Blazing Saddles or a Don't Be a Menace to South Central, something like one of those parody movies. But that's not what it was. It was trying to be serious. And once again, it was boring. I think the biggest problem was boring. There was if I remember right, because it was a while I watched it once. The kills were like very drawn out. You got I think the first kill was in like an hour in, and the kills aren't that interesting. It's an agenda film like a motherfucker. You wasted Kevin Bacon. He's not a bad actor. I actually think Kevin Bacon's pretty good and stuff, and then you just wasted him in this. The thing is, if you had did this as a parody, it could have worked. But they didn't try to be serious and doing this whole, agenda shit. I don't want that in horror movies. And when you make it to only certain people can die in your movies, that, oh, we're gonna only kill white guys or the straight guys, but not kill anyone else, it's just, it takes me out of it, and it's not really a horror movie. And I think it's boring too. I think it's another case of it's just boring. A biggest problem of biggest almost like that's like the worst crime a movie could be, in my opinion, above anything else, is just being a boring slog. And that's what this was. Even if it's like only an hour and a half, it was still a boring slog. And I didn't even need to watch this movie. And none of the characters are memorable. The killer is not even memorable. Yeah. And the whole twist of, if I remember right, it was that they were trying to get that camp shut down, so it was bad. It was stupid. Anyway, it's really enough I need to spend on that movie. I did a whole video on it, so I'm gonna try not make sure I don't spend too much time on. Well, some of the movies, like if it's ones I've not reviewed or even talked about, for sure. But I don't want to be talking about movies that I've already did videos on. Like I did a whole video on, so I want to try to keep it quick. So number 8 is Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Actually, no. Yeah, number 8 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. I'm gonna switch it. Yeah, this movie to me just wasn't good. I think there was some positive, like the bus scene where Leatherface slaughtered a bunch of people was cool, and there were some solid kills, like when he killed the one guy with the hammer. Like there was some positive kills. So I guess in that way, I guess it's still the lesser of two evils between, because I'm now getting to my upper. But to me, overall, the lack of the Sawyers is what kills this film. Like compared to the movie I just literally reviewed last week, the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's not even close. One of the things, a lot of the best things about the three, for me, there's only really 3 great Texas movies, and their biggest thing that brings them all together is that the Sawyers are in them. The Sawyers are like the interesting aspect about Leatherface. Fucking Hoyt, Sheriff Hoyt from the 03 movie, in my opinion, he's scarier than Leatherface. Because you got to have that element there. When you just have Leatherface on his own, he's boring. And I think that's what this movie really was. And you're stuck with just Leatherface and then boring characters. Yeah, they get ripped apart brutally. Okay. But I don't need to sit down and watch the movie for that. I can just watch clips of it. Like, and I think that's the problem. This movie isn't really a movie. You don't need to sit down and watch it as a whole thing. You can just watch clips of the kills and then be good. And I think that's the problem with it. A truly great slasher film, or even a decent one, you can even sit down and watch the movie as a whole. Still, yeah, you can watch a kill compilation, but you could also still sit down and watch all of it. I don't need to do that with this one. I could just watch Leatherface kill people and it'd be good. And I think that's the other problem. It's the lack of the Sawyers is really what kills it. The Sawyers is what makes Leatherface interesting. Him by himself just isn't interesting in an empty house. You know, I think also it's fun to have like the Sawyers set people up to have Leatherface fuck them up. It's an interesting setup. You know, you think you find this interesting family or this normal family, and then they're fucking crazy, and then they're setting you up to get wrecked by Leatherface. It's such a good dynamic, and they don't have that in this. And I think that's what really. And then Sally's in it for like 2 seconds, and then what was the point of her character when you set her up? Oh, we haven't seen her in years, and this conference. It was like they definitely took a book from Halloween 2018. You could tell, but they didn't do it. It didn't do it for me as a movie. So, but I did a whole video on it. So, number 7 is Jeepers Creepers Reborn. To me, this movie really just doesn't do it for me. I think another reason, I knew going in it wasn't going to be good, just because even from the trailer, like when I first saw it, I'm like, there's something off. It's sad, because I think Jeepers Creepers is such a good premise. This creature that comes out every 23 years, kills for 23 days. It's an interesting premise, and they didn't know. It's like, after the second movie, they didn't know what to do with it. Because we get that awful third one, which at least the third one was kind of entertaining, a meme. This one is just bad. The acting is bad. The kills are bad. The creeper's not scary at all. Like, not one scene is he intimidating. At least in the third one, I can at least name one scene where they tried to make him somewhat intimidating. They didn't do that at all in this. Not once. The characters are all terrible. The ending is retarded with the crows. Just, you don't even know what happened. The lead is boring and just all around, man. It's like everything wrong, and that's why I'm putting it a little lower, because at the end of the day, it's a bad movie. But I didn't expect it to be good going in. I just didn't. I really knew going in it just wasn't gonna be good. So but it just, I didn't realize it was gonna be this bad, and then it just ripped off. Like, the opening scene was just a rip off of the first movie. Except it's an old couple this time and not Derry and his sister. But it's essentially the same thing. You know, Leatherface, they see Leatherface's truck, which, though it's red now, but then Leatherface chases them. Leatherface loses them, and then they pass by and they see Leatherface dumping a body like in the original. It's like, it tried to just rip off the better movie, and it just didn't work. So overall, this movie was bad. I did a whole video on it, so I don't want to go too into it, but yeah, this definitely makes the list. It's really sad that they can't get Texas Leatherface. Well, Texas Chainsaw's another one they can't get right, but I don't understand why they can't get Jeepers Creepers right. It's such an interesting premise. The Creeper is such the Creeper from the first two movies is a fucking demon, man. As a kid, it freaked me out. I can understand why it freaked people out as a kid. It's demonic looking, and then it just, granted, it kind of started in the third one, but they can't get it right with these last two movies. It's like, I don't understand. It's like, the premise is there. 23 days, 23 years. 23 years, 23 days. That's every 23 years. It's such an interesting premise, You could theoretically keep it going, and it's like they didn't know what to do after the second movie. It's just sad, so. I really don't understand, what they did. I know I'm going on long about it. It's just, Jeepers Creepers is such... I think there's so much you could do with it, and they just they don't seem to. And I think the problem was, this one and the third one had this problem too a little bit, but not likable characters. The first two movies, what they got right was likable characters. Yeah, not every teen in the second one was likable, but I felt like there was a couple in there that I'm like, okay, they're cool. Or at least they tried. But the first movie, you had likable characters. It's like, in this, just none of them are. Anyway, went on a little bit long about about Jeepers Creepers, so I figured I had to go in on that. So number 6 is the mean one. This one is another one. The reason I have this a little bit higher is just because I was expecting I knew going in it wasn't going to be good in the sense of objectivity, but I was hoping, it was going to be fun schlock, and it just wasn't. It was just boring. I just did the video yesterday, so I'm kind of just make it short. This is a bad movie. Why are you not having the Grinch talk? Cindy Lou was bad. All the acting was bad. This could have been better as a short film on YouTube. So, but I just did the video, so I'm gonna just go to number 5. Number 5 is Hocus Pocus 2. I mean, this one, to be fair, I should have known it was gonna be shit, but because I do like the first one, especially as a kid. I really love that original Hocus Pocus, so I wanted to check it out, and my God, it is just everything wrong. It's Disney at its worst. Disney just sucks now. It didn't need to. This is a case that didn't need to exist. It could have just been a one-off film and just leave it at that. There is no point the sisters coming back. The comedy's even worse. The scene with the Roombas was awful. The new leads are boring. The problem with just Disney actors in general in a lot of these newer movies, they all just feel like they come out of a factory, bro, or a conveyor belt. Like, they don't feel any, like, at least when I was coming up, the Disney actors had some uniqueness about them, and even in the shows and the movies. In these newer ones, they're all just the same, and that's what it was. Is they were all like just generic. Um, the lead's essentially, I would call her Mary Sue. I mean, she's just good at everything. Like, she's inherently, she. It's revealed she's basically a witch, so she just knows magic instantly. Isn't, even though like she was just weirded out by magic when she first found out it exists. Oh, she's good with it now though. It's that kind of writing. The sisters are cringe. It didn't need to exist. The humor was just painful to sit through. Don't watch it. Hocus Pocus is a one-off in my opinion. If they were going to do a sequel, it should have been maybe right after. Doing it 30 or 20, 30 years later just doesn't work. So, yeah, this was bad. I mean, if I had to say one positive, the scene where they do go back and there you see them as kids, I guess that was okay. But everything else, really, after that, it was bad. I think, if anything, like I said, the biggest crime for this one specifically, I mean, it was kind of boring, but I would say more, it was terribly unfunny. Oh my god. Sisters, every time they cut to this, it was just cringe. It was like, this just feels like, it felt like Jay and Silent Bob reboot to me. Just washed up. I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean, but washed up actors trying to play. It felt like, yeah, midlife crisis is a perfect word for it. It just felt like these women are in midlife crisis trying to relive their glory days. To me, it just, every time the sisters were on screen, that is what I got. I felt like they were trying to relive their glory days when they were younger. I'm like, just no, hang it up. This didn't need to happen. So definitely, that's my number 5. We're now getting to the my opinion, the worst 4, and these are going to be the ones that you see on the thumbnail. So number 4 is Black Panther 2 or Wakanda Forever. This movie, like I said, I wasn't planning on seeing it. I didn't pay for it, so it was one of those things. So I saw it, and it just was bad. Like, be fair, I'm popular. I didn't like the first one either, really, but this one should not have been as long as it was. You could have easily whittled it down to 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 10, but they dragged it on. The way they killed T'Challa was stupid. Some random sickness that realistically Wakanda should be able to have a cure for, but okay. And then you're gonna really, I've seen a lot of people mention this, at the time, and it's a good point. T'Challa died in real life because of a sickness in bed. Why wouldn't you have him die like an actual hero? Granted, for me, I've always said they should have recast it. I'm in the opinion the MCU should have rebooted after Endgame, recast everybody, but you should have recast T'Challa. You could have did some bullshit. You're already doing multiverse shit anyway. Why you didn't kill off Superman when Christopher Reeve died? You didn't stop using the Joker when Heath died. It's these actors not bigger than the character. Anyway, that's a side point. Back to the movie. That wasn't Namor. That was some Aztec guy that they should have he might as well have just been an original character. I understand Universal has the rights and they didn't want it, but it's like they don't fucking do Namor. Or Namor, as they wanted to fucking call. Oh my god. Namor is an actual good villain and you wasted him. And now that's Namor. Now, the movie was a slog. The action wasn't good. Making Shuri Black Panther just wasn't the choice. I understand they did it in the comics, but she just no disrespect to Letitia Wright, she's not a lead actress. She's an actress who I think could be a co-actress in a movie, but she is not a lead. And I just think if she's gonna be Black Panther going forward, I don't know. This ain't working. This ain't gonna work. The costumes were absolutely terrible. Like they literally look like it was like shit you would see on like a not Power Rangers. Power Rangers is actually good, but like fucking even just rip off Power Rangers. Like Riri's iron armor was fucking literally they gave it cornrows, bruh. And then the armor that the guards got later, like that suit looked terrible. Like everything was just bad about this movie. So it just, and the fact that it was almost 3 hours just makes it worse. And just the lack of Black Panther. Then you have the cringy MCU humor still there, and M'Baku, good actor. He's only in it for like 2 seconds, and you don't really do anything with him. And he's King, but you don't even do it in a way where we actually even know it's King. It's something we find out afterwards. Like I think the actor said it, so it's like we had to find out from the actors, not even in the fucking movie. Yeah, okay. Like I said, this wasn't what I was originally planning on seeing anyway, so it's bad. It's modern MCU. That's all I can really say. So, number 3 is the Uncharted movie. This one really pisses me off, and it's borderline. I almost want to push it to number 1, but it's sad because it's like you didn't have to do this. Is another one. They did an Uncharted fan film with Nathan Fillion. Why the fuck didn't they use him? And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not taking that excuse of, he's too old. Who gives a fucking shit? This weird, he's too old, so we're not going to... What? Because it's this weird mentality with these companies how they want to do it like the MCU. We got to have a 10-year plan. Because he's too old, so we don't want to use him for the next year. What the fuck? What Uncharted isn't a franchise where you're going to do 10 years anyway. Realistically, just do 3 movies. I think that's really all you would really have to do. 3 movies and maybe like a series. You know? I think that's what Uncharted works as. It's not a 10-year franchise like that. And I think that's what these fucking idiots at Sony were. Also, it's because, Tom Holland is Spider-Man. So they have to throw him in everything. And it's so stupid because he was not Nathan in this. He felt like just a random adventure. I can see if you're not really into Uncharted, if you just look at this as some generic adventure movie, I guess it could work, but it is not a good Uncharted movie. You wasted... And there were even scenes in there I'm like, Mark Wahlberg should have probably been Nathan. And granted, he's not my first pick to be Nathan Drake, but at least he could have worked. And you just dropped the ball with him hard in this. There are just scenes... He does feel like he's just Nathan's dad. Like, Sully is a mentor to Nathan, but he's not his dad. I didn't get, like, a father-son, but, like, a father and a little kid's son, so he has to drag his son everywhere. And that's what the fucking vibe I got every scene they were in together. And then you had that generic love interest was boring. You wasted Antonio Banderas. I think he gets like randomly killed off, and they replace him with some other chick. And it's just such a bad movie. The scenes where they do try to recreate scenes from the video games are painful, just because it's like you're adding that insult to injury type of thing. Like, I don't need you to, let me show you stuff from the video game. Like, no, fuck off. Don't do that. Like, you're just, it's like you're slapping me in the face now. You don't need to do that. Nathan Fillion should have been in this movie. Uncharted is like one of those that is tailor-made for being a movie, and they really fucked it. Because, we gotta have Tom Holland. And now look at you. This is what I would be saying to the executives right now. I'm like, now look at you. I don't think there's going to be an Uncharted 2. It didn't do well. And it wasn't like, it was released at a time. There was no real competition. I think it was released in like February. A little bit time before it came out, before like the Batman. So it's not like it really had any competition for a little bit, and it didn't do great. It was not well received. So even if it made a little bit of money, they probably wouldn't even do a sequel just because it wasn't well received. Like, I don't think anybody liked that movie. Like, especially people who are really into Uncharted. They really dropped the ball on this one. That's why it's like borderline number one, because you didn't have, granted, 3-1 are ones that they didn't have to fuck up at all. These were all slam dunks. How do you screw up Uncharted? Nathan Fillion, guys. Nathan Fillion's that age. I still think you would have been down to do 3 movies, and you fucked it. The best we can hope for is they just scrap this and then just be like, fucking Nathan, can you come and do one? That's like the best we can hope for, but yeah, this movie was shit. I would say don't see it. Maybe if you like are not into Uncharted, you could probably enjoy it as like an adventure film that can pass the time, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend going to see it personally, but that's just me. Number 2 is Scream 5. I'm not going to try to go into this one long because I did a whole video about it, but there's definitely more I could add to my rank, because this is a sad one, man. I was really hyped for this one, and they really just, because when I first heard about it, you know, I like the first 4 Scream films. I'm one up until 5. I was saying that Scream was a consistent franchise. Like, I didn't really think there was a bad entry. I know a lot of people don't like 3. I like 3 for the most part. But then they said we're going to do 5. I was like, okay, I'm going to give this one a shot. And I didn't see a lot. And then the trailer came out. And I'll admit, I did a reaction to the trailer when it came out. I liked it at the time. I was like, okay, this is decent. And then the movie came out. And then it was a slap in the face, like, multiple ways. It does make it worse when they try to say it's for Wes, because Wes would not have did this movie. He would not have insulted the audience. He would have did the whole toxic fan narrative, which was just done because that was the narrative at the time. And the fact that he tied Rian Johnson and mentioned Stab 8, which is episode 8, like, come on, guys. We know what you're fucking doing. You're basically saying we would murder people because we don't like bad movies. You know how many fucking bad movies I've seen? I'd be a serial killer at that fucking point if you're making that argument. So fucking stupid. Like, it's dumb. Why are you making this argument? And Wes, if we're going to be real, they kind of already did that with Scream 2 and 4. You know, Mickey kind of had to blame the movies thing, and then you have Jill, who kind of wanted credit, you know, basically from the movies. And it's like, she wanted to essentially become a movie star. And it's like, I don't understand why we're trying to repackage and act like we're trying to do something different. And it's cringy. Like, the late lady who, I don't even remember her name, who was the lady. I think Richie was the guy. It was so bad. That whole reveal is easily the worst reveal in the whole franchise. It was just like, what the fuck? What was the point of being in Stu's house besides member berries? You know, minus Halloween Ends. At least, you know, the Halloween movies, when they used the Myers house, it was there for story purposes. It wasn't just there for member berries. In this, Stu's house was just, they did a party because they just wanted to basically copy the first movie and do a party scene. The party scene in the first Scream was so iconic. In this, it's just random. It's just scenes of people dancing and making references, and that's it. It wasn't anything special. The second killer, you don't even get focus on. You know, look at how good Scream 1 was. We're getting, you know, tomorrow, I think, is the anniversary of it. So, I'm definitely going to watch it tomorrow. But, like, what made that first Scream so good? Billy and Stu, I would argue, got about basically equal amount of build-up and development. Richie kind of got development because he was basically Sam's boyfriend. But besides that, the girl killer didn't. You saw her in a couple of scenes. You wouldn't have suspected she was the killer, and I guess that's what they were going for. But she had no development. Like, at least, and then the real reason they brought her in the movie, because she's the girl from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that got set on fire and stuff. They basically just did that gag in this. It's just so bad. It was you wasted the legacy characters. Dewey's death was, in my opinion, he died like a dumbass. Why would he go back? And how did she lift him? You know, we did that question. Making Sam Billy's daughter was dumb, and having her see him in visions is stupid. It seems like apparently Skeet Ulrich's coming back in 6, so they're basically doing that. They're gonna be doing that again. It's so dumb because she doesn't know him, and I don't buy that Billy. I've talked about this. I'm not gonna go too into it, but Billy didn't have a daughter. He wouldn't have had the time or anything to even anyway. It was dumb. Nev Campbell was wasted. Basically, all our scenes you saw are in the trailer. Yeah, I don't want to spend too long on this. I've did a whole video on it, but I know I'm going to be saying that a lot. But yeah, it's just this one was bad, man. It was such a disappointment, and unfortunately, it did well because normies are going to. I'll admit, it's competently made. It's a competently made movie in the sense on the technical aspect. So I can see why like people who aren't into the Scream franchise enjoy it as it's a fun horror movie, you know. Or either unfortunately even people who like the franchise like it, which is sad because I guess they're comparing it to like Scream 3, which in my opinion is a way better movie. But yeah, this was an insult. So fuck this movie. Number 1 is Halloween Ends. I mean, it's not a shock. This was one of my most really anticipated movies of the year. And yeah, Jurassic World was too. But at least there's still scenes in there I like. You know, like I mentioned, that's why it's number 10. This was just, I can't name anything in this I really like. I can't. I guess the music. But that's just a continuation of the music from the other 2 movies. So that's not really that. And it's John Carpenter doing it, so you're not gonna go fucking wrong there. Mike, just everything was wrong with this movie. You included a character that no one gives a shit about that wasn't introduced. For me, I could have lived with Corey if he was just Allison's boyfriend. That's it. He wasn't this weird kid or anything. He wasn't the focus. He's just her boyfriend. This movie should have been about Laurie and Michael, but they didn't do that. They wasted. This is Jamie Lee Curtis's last essentially performance as Laurie, and this is what we get, and it's sad, you know. In a way, I do kind of feel bad for her because she wasn't even the focal point in her own fucking movie. We didn't get the final confrontation until the last 10 minutes. The confrontation was stupid as fuck, and Michael getting thrown in basically a fucking grinder still pisses me off. Him getting tackled for his fucking mask pisses me off. That scene where he's teaming up with Boy Wonder over there, like, that was so bad, man. Wannabe dynamic duo with Michael Myers. Get the fuck out of here, man. This whole movie was dog shit. It was such a waste. And the fact that they marketed it, and that's what pisses me off, because Jason Blum, I put it on my Instagram a while ago, said basically, we never intended on making this a Michael and Laurie film. And I'm like, what? I'm ad-libbing it, but that's basically what he said. I'm like, even though this motherfucker and these people marketed it that way. Every fucking trailer was, this is the final confrontation of Michael and Laurie. Even the poster is them like standing back to back, like it's the big face-off, and it's fucking not. So fuck them, man. It's such a... How do you fuck up Halloween? And as to Scream. How do you fuck up Scream? And these are like the 2 movies I don't think you should even be able to fuck up. Just have some good music. Have some good Michael moments. Have some good dialogue. I really think Halloween's easy. It's not hard, and they did it. So yeah, this has to be my number 1, man. I was so, it's like it's almost like the movies. I've never been slapped by a movie. Scream 5 did that. Scream 5 is a bit more insulting because of the fan stuff, but I'm more into Halloween and just how much I was really looking forward to this. And they dropped the ball hard, man. This was, yeah. I don't know what to do, what to say. Besides, you know, I have gone in on this movie a million times. At least the plus side, though, this one dropped like 80%. like I think it like the very next week, like the second week drop off was like 80%, or it was either no, it was 80%. It was 80% because I did post it somewhere. So yeah, it lost a lot. It lost a lot, and they deserve it because it's like you marketed this. This is a movie that even normies. I can't see how normies can even like it. They would just notice how jarring it is forcing this new character in. So I'm sorry, I just don't really see how anyone can say this is a good movie. And I like the we watched the movie guys, but these guys them mentioning like, putting Hall. So I follow them on Twitter, so they posted something like, a guy mentioned Halloween Ends being one of the worst movies of the year, and they're like, how come Jeepers Creepers isn't mentioned? Like, I agree, that's a bad movie, but most people, to be honest, including me, did not expect Jeepers Creepers Reborn being good really after the third movie. Jeepers Creepers is one of those that unfortunately that third movie really did stain it, if we're going to be honest, as the franchise. Halloween Ends, I think, had hype. Most people going in had expectations of Halloween Ends to be good. For me specifically, I liked the first two. I liked 2018 for the most part. I had issues with it, but I liked it. And I loved Halloween End, Halloween Kills. Even with some of the issues, I really liked Halloween Kills. So if I liked two, I was hoping I would think I was gonna like the third one. No, I was thinking in some level I was gonna like it. I knew I was gonna probably have some issues in some way, but I didn't think they would be doing this. Yeah, fuck this movie. I say don't watch it. Halloween Kills is where this timeline ends. Even though to me this isn't the main timeline. Ideally, Halloween 2 to me still happened. I'm sorry, but if with this timeline, just watch Halloween 2018, and then Kills. Kills can work as like the ending, and just unfortunately, Laurie and Michael just never confront each other because the confrontation we got was all of 10 minutes anyway, and it just wasn't anything special. So, but yeah, guys, there's been a lot of shit. So I can't wait till Wednesday, actually not Wednesday, Friday, to talk about some actual good shit that came out this year. Because there was some actual good movies and horror movies this year. There were. So I'll be doing that video on Friday. But tomorrow I'm going to be talking about Ip Man 4. I've never seen that one, so I think that one will be good. I mean, I can't see an Ip Man movie being bad. So, I'm down for older Donnie and fucking some people up, so I'm ready for that. So, but wonder what what's y'all's worst movie of the year are. So, but as usual, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Cheers out. Fuck Joe Biden. Peace.